The thing in your hand just turned into a ball. Small, gray, armored. You called it a bug. Everyone does. Stop. Because it is not a bug. It never was. It is a crustacean, closer to a crab, a shrimp, a lobster than to any ant you have ever stepped over. And that is not a loose comparison. That is a real, direct relationship. But here's what actually matters. Some of what it carried out of the ocean millions of years ago, it has never let go of. And you can see it most clearly in the way it breathes. You grew up with it same as everyone else. You lifted a flower pot, and there it was. Maybe you watched it curl into a ball. Maybe you stepped on it because there seemed to be too many. No one ever told you what it actually was, and no one ever told you what you were actually stopping, every time you did. Today, you find out both. About 300 million years ago, the ancestor of every isopod was living in the ocean. The same lineage as the sea slaters you have seen, clinging to rocks at the shoreline. Somewhere along the way, some of them moved onto land, but they never fully left the water behind. You can see it most clearly in the way this animal breathes. Underneath its body, there are small, thin, moist patches of tissue called pseudotracheae. Not true gills, but built on the same principle. They only work wet. If they dry out, the animal suffocates. Almost no other land-dwelling arthropod still breathes this way. This one still does. That is why almost everywhere you find it, you find moisture. Under the pot, under the log, in the damp soil. It did not choose those places at random. It chose them because that is the only place it can breathe. But that is not even the strangest part, because what you have been calling one animal your whole life might actually be two, and the difference between them sits at the center of how each one survives. What you call a roly-poly might actually be two different animals. One of them can truly become a ball, its legs disappear completely inside, and from the outside it looks almost like a perfect marble. The other belongs to the same family but cannot do this. It only curls and the edges never quite close. One is the pillbug, family Armadillidae. The other is the sowbug, family Porcellianidae. They can live in the same garden, under the same pot, and you have probably seen both and called them the same thing. You can test this yourself. Next time you find one, touch it gently. If it closes into a complete sphere with no legs showing, that is a pillbug. If it only curls and stays open, that is a sowbug. This difference is not random. Every plate on a pillbug's body evolved to close with millimeter precision. The sowbug never developed that. Its strategy went in a completely different direction: speed. Since it cannot become a ball when it senses a threat, it runs as fast as it can instead. Two animals from the same family facing the same danger, and they evolved two completely different answers. But the ability to become a ball does far more work than you would guess. And the reason why is going to surprise you. When a bird or a spider gets close, curling into a ball is not just a hiding trick. It turns its armored plates outward and pulls its soft underside, along with those vital breathing organs, completely inside. So the moment it becomes a ball, it is protected from being eaten and from drying out at the same time in a single motion. This behavior even has a scientific name: conglobation. Some species hold that shape for minutes at a time, refusing to open again until they are certain the danger has fully passed. Most animals either hide or they defend. This one does both, in one move. But here is what is genuinely surprising. That same little ball is quietly cleaning up contamination in your garden that you cannot even see. Now, let's get to the real question. What is this animal actually doing in your garden? The answer is going to surprise you. It is a decomposer. It feeds on dead leaves, decaying plant matter, fungus. After a rainstorm, you have probably lifted a pot and found dozens of them clustered together. It probably looked crowded to you, maybe even unsettling. But what you were looking at was not an invasion. It was a small crew, already at work. A single isopod, over the course of a year, breaks down and returns to the soil several times its own body weight in organic matter. Now stop for a second, because the part that actually matters is just getting started. This animal absorbs the heavy metals in your soil, lead, cadmium, copper, converts them into a harmless mineral form, and locks them away inside its own body, in an organ that functions like a liver. Ecotoxicology researchers have been using these animals for exactly this reason for years. Scientists tracking urban soil contamination can measure how polluted a site is just by testing the heavy metal levels inside isopod tissue. They don't even need to run it through a lab. The soil is already growing its own indicator. If your garden has a lot of these, your soil is probably healthy and holding moisture the way it should. And their presence supports something bigger than themselves. Birds and other predators get those heavy metals filtered through something that has already made them safe, instead of eating them raw from the source. But what this animal does while it is growing is stranger than anything else living in your garden. As this animal grows, it molts the same way a crab does, but not all at once. First, it molts the back half of its body. Then it waits for several days, with half its body covered in new shell and the other half still wearing the old one. You can see that dividing line with the naked eye. Then it molts the front half. Scientists still haven't fully settled on why it splits the process this way, but the strongest theory is this. If it molted its entire shell at once, it would be completely defenseless for those few seconds. It couldn't even curl into a ball because becoming a ball requires hard plates. Molting in 2 stages means half its body always stays armored. Even its most basic biological process is by itself a matter of survival, and you never knew any of that every time you brushed one off your hand without a second thought. You cleared away the dozens of isopods you found under that pot. Maybe you stepped on some because there seemed to be too many. But every single one you removed slowed down your soil's decomposition rate by 1 more degree. The system that was quietly locking away heavy metals got a little weaker. The soil you prepared for your seedlings recovers a little slower now, without the small crew that was cleaning it. And the friends that were telling you, for free, exactly how your soil's moisture was doing. They're not there anymore. From this point on, you have to guess, because you removed with your own hands the animal that was telling you the truth. So what should you actually do? 3 simple things. First, when you find them under a pot or a log, leave them there. Their presence is proof that your soil is moist and rich in organic matter. That's good news, not bad. Second, if their numbers are genuinely high and they're damaging young seedlings, relocate them instead of killing them. Prepare a moist area nearby and guide them there. That's a far better option than wiping out the whole population. Third, if you have a compost pile, let them live in it. As decomposers, they are some of the most efficient, quietest workers, speeding up the breakdown process in there. And there's something else happening lately. Instead of clearing these animals out of the garden, some people are now deliberately raising them in terrariums because they realize that letting them do their job is worth more than getting rid of them. Maybe next time, you won't touch them at all. When you held that little curled up ball in your hand, you were actually holding a creature that walked out of the ocean millions of years ago. You called it a bug because no one ever told you the truth. Now you know it's your garden's quiet soil doctor, a 300 million year journey that is still going. What did you do the first time you saw one? Did you pick it up and look closer? Or did you ignore it like most people do? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if there's another creature quietly working in your garden that you're curious about, tell me in the comments and I'll put it together for you next.